All right, it is fight weekend, and Gervonta Davis will be fighting Lamont Roach in Brooklyn, New York. Extremely happy about the fight, but also in the press conference or in the arrivals that took place last night or yesterday, we found out something once again was absolutely not true that was being spread about Gervonta Davis. I did a video about it, but I want to follow up on it, and I want to give you my reasons for why I think this lie was told and why Barry Hunter and Calvin Ford were at the podium with him when he was going up against Lamont Roach. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division where Gervonta Davis showed up with his trainer, Calvin Ford, on the stage with him, right there. Barry Hunter, right there with him, next to him. And it seems as if we have Barry Hunter being involved in Gervonta Davis's training camp. But people had been saying that because you didn't see Gervonta Davis with Calvin Ford in the promos for the fight that took place on Amazon Prime, and Barry Hunter was saying that he was training him, that means that Calvin Ford was not training him. Well, fortunately, we found out that that was not the case. However, I have some inclinations as to why that particular situation turned out that way, and why you see Barry Hunter for this fight working with Calvin Ford and Gervonta Davis, and why you see them training in a fight against a guy from DC in DC for a fight in Brooklyn. And let me tell you what it is. The long and short of it is that they are trying to avoid shenanigans in their fight. If you've not been paying attention, there's been a lot of fighters getting sick during fights, especially overseas, in the fight card that took place with Arthur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, where Daniel Dubois got sick and he had to pull out of the fight. You had Floyd Schofield got sick; he had to pull out of the fight. You had issues with Carlos Adames getting in and out of the country. You just have a lot of stuff going on in boxing right now, and where there's a lot of, should I say, unfortunate accidents that take place. People wind up getting their ribs broken sparring. People wind up having things, getting sick in the middle of training camp and not being able to spar for long periods of time. You just be surprised how many things can go wrong in boxing gyms where you're fighting in a gym where everybody knows you. You know a bunch of people coming in and out. You don't have a really contained environment. And my understanding is that is exactly what they're doing. That they wanted to make sure that there was no funny business going on in the boxing match, that they were not getting set up going into New York City, where Gervonta was going to sip some water from someone, and all of a sudden his water pops dirty, or he's missing some weight, and all of a sudden somebody named Scooter is suggested to him to help him with his rehydration, help him cut weight, and then give him things for his rehydrations where he pops dirty. You got people getting cut in sparring. You've got car accidents where people get hit by cars on the way to sparring. All kind of stuff around all this money going on in boxing. Because you can't lie, there's a lot of money going on in boxing. This particular fight with Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach is going to have somewhere around a $14 million gate, and it's probably going to do somewhere around 500,000, 550,000 pay-per-views. It's going to be a $60 million event that he's putting on. And with that much temptation out there, especially where there's a lot more money to be made in these events than just the concessions, the gate, and the pay-per-view. There's all kind of other stuff, merchandising, parties going on in the city, after the fight, parties after the fight that bring in a lot of money. You'd be surprised how many people have their fingers in the pie of a boxing event that are not directly connected to the fighters, but yet the fighters themselves and the fights that they take really do dictate how much money these other people are going to earn, all the way down to YouTube channels. If Gervonta Davis gets upset, gets sick, or whatever, you'd be surprised. People's YouTube views are going to go up. I told you so. I told you so. Anyway, a lot of foolishness is going on in the sport of boxing right now. There are people that don't want you, who don't want anybody in their gym. They checking their sparring partners out 4 or 5 times. They're checking their sparring partners' gloves as they come in. They're checking their sparring partners' bags as they come in. Because like I told you there was a video, didn't get a lot of views, that there's a lot of internet bullies running around at the gyms. They're running at the gyms, trying to bully people coming out of the gym, trying to bully people coming into the gym, trying to bribe people coming out of the gym, trying to bribe people going into the gym. You know, all kind of these games that fighters and fight teams and promotional teams play to get a little bit of an advantage on big fight night. And that's what I'm sure is what took place with Gervonta Davis, Barry Hunter, and Calvin Ford. If you know who Barry Hunter is, and you know who Calvin Ford is, and you realize the relationship between Baltimore and DC, you know, and Lamont Roach is from DC as well, that having a relationship and training in DC in a very secluded type of situation is probably the best situation for Gervonta Davis. And to make sure everything stays clean, and to bring in somebody like Barry Hunter, who also knows Lamont Roach, because Barry Hunter is the king of boxing in DC, from my understanding, Headbangers Gym and all of that good stuff. You know, he pretty much is the man. So all of the, you know, should I say blue blood type stories, I'll say his name at the end of this video, where they just wildly make crap up, hoping that they can cause, in my opinion, looking as if they're just trying to cause dissension and confusion inside people's camps, which could also be connected, not necessarily with that guy, but with other people, to the little bullies hanging around outside of people's gyms, trying to make a quick buck, right? Trying to get off on sparring, right? Hey, man, we're going to tape the sparring, man. If you can do some real work in this sparring, hey, man. Meanwhile, then you get some over anxious young man throwing a bunch of shots when the guy he's sparring is really trying to train for a fight. So trust me, man, the book is coming out on these dudes, man. You got people like, hey, man, I got paid to really go at him, so I really went at him. Yeah, dog, but you were also paid to just spar with him, so I got more money to just go at him. I'm telling you, man, boxing is really wild, and you got to be careful who you keep around you. And I think that is pretty much what happened. What happened with Gervonta Davis, Calvin Ford, and Barry Hunter, because Barry Hunter is somebody that's just so influential and such a significant figure that even having him and Calvin in the ring probably kills a lot of that nonsense that goes on, especially with their experience level and knowing what's going on in and outside of the game. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.